Hello everyone and welcome to the patch notes for Wild Rift patch 6.0a. Even though it's only been a week now since the new update with the Bandle City map and also the durability update, Riot have already hit us with a new patch with some champion changes, an item change and some system changes which will go live in the game tomorrow. Unfortunately, there is no note in these patch notes about the bots that have been added to the game, especially with how people are able to abuse bots at the moment. Yesterday, we got our first challenger in EU after just 5 days, which has never been heard of before. And all they've been doing is playing with lower ranks in 5Q, getting queued up into bots, and basically just pushing their ranks for free. It's pretty unfortunate, it's pretty bad to be fair, and it's a bad look on the game in general. Hopefully, Riot come out with some sort of statement or some sort of change to the game. It's really too late to be fair, because everyone's already gotten free wins from bots and free boosts anyway. But yeah, it's been a pretty unfortunate start to the season, even though it's been a really good update overall. I've really liked the durability update and what they've changed with the map. But unfortunately, bots have ruined it. So hopefully Riot do make some sort of statement in the future, but unfortunately nothing in these patch notes. But let's get through with some of these changes. There's not too many changes in these patch notes, but there are some big changes that are definitely going to affect the meta. Going on through first, champion changes. Akali. No surprise that Akali has been underperforming and assassins in general have been underperforming this patch. This is just because the durability update means that these assassins need more resources, need some more items to be able to do more damage and try and one-shot. It's kind of nice to be fair. It's a great feeling to not have assassins one-shot you all the time, because we've had that meta now for quite some time. And all it took was 1 week for Riot to be like, okay, time to buff assassins again, which I don't really like personally, but hey, we'll have to see how this, if it does change up anything with Akali in general. But definitely Akali has been in a much weaker spot, so they're changing up her passive, making her passive much stronger in the mid and late game, with the champion levels now scaling with 12 every single time you level up instead of 10, and also the ability power ratio going up by 10%. So it doesn't affect Akali too much in the early game. Her early game is kind of going to still be a little bit weak, but she can still survive quite a lot in the early game. But they're trying to give her some more late game power, so then she can be a scary threat as an assassin in the mid and the late game. And also the second ability, the cooldown going down by 1 second at every single rank, actually going down to pretty much 15 seconds at maximum rank, which is going to be a big difference from the 18-second cooldown that you had before. And also you get a bit of extra movement speed with 5% movement speed buff at every single rank. So this means Akali can be a little bit more mobile, dodge some more skill shots with the second ability, and also being able to maneuver around a lot more during team fights with her second ability. So overall, scary changes to Akali. Hopefully this doesn't mean that Akali becomes completely broken, but to be fair, I think this will still be fine. I think Akali will be stronger, but I don't think she'll be as scary as what she was in previous patches. Same with Talon as well. Again, Talon really struggling with the durability patch. Again, assassins in general are definitely struggling. The second ability, the damage on returning blades, is going up by the bonus attack damage. Again, more to do with the scaling of Talon, nothing to do with the early game base damage. And also the ultimate going up. The base damage is going up, and also the bonus attack damage ratio. So again, kind of making sure that these assassins can actually do damage in the mid and the late game. I'm very surprised that Evelyn hasn't actually been buffed and Evelyn isn't on these assassin notes, because Evelyn, yeah, you just have so much survivability against Evelyn that even when Evelyn comes out in visibility, surprises you and taunts you and uses her ultimate, she still can't kill anyone in the game at the moment. So I'm kind of surprised that Akali and Talon are on this list and Evelyn is not. But hey, we'll have to see if these changes mean anything to these AP assassins. Now, 2 nerfs that honestly should have been in the game a lot longer than the durability patch. Ambessa and Victor, both of these champions have been overpowered for quite some time. Victor pretty much since his release. Ambessa as well, just with her mobility and how much she can maneuver around the map with her jungle. It just feels like a cheat code in general, and it's absolutely disgusting. The big thing here about her passive is that they're changing the base damage. You still get the champion level ×4. You still get the little bit of bonus that you get on the bonus attack damage, which has been nerfed by 1% as well, which can a little bit nerf in the early game. The big thing here, sorry, in the mid and late game, a little bit of a nerf there. The big thing here is a nerf in the early game with her jungle clear speed. She's now not going to get as much base damage with her passive. So that means her early jungle clear speed is going to be nerfed quite a bit. Also, the damage to monsters on the first ability is also getting nerfed by 10%. So in general, Ambessa at the moment, if you count out a Mumu, is the fastest jungle clearing jungler in the game. Again, Mumu is by far the fastest, and then second to that is Ambessa, just with how much bonus damage she can deal with her passive and her first ability. They're basically trying to nerf that down, then trying to make sure that she doesn't clear the jungle as fast and she can't just go to a lane and get level 5 whilst her bot lane is like level 3. The amount of times I've had Mumus and Bessas, I mean, junglers in general getting level 5, and then you're sitting there bot lane as an AD carry, and you and your support are level 3. The junglers walk into your lane level 5, has ultimate already and a bunch of extra base stats. That is just unplayable. It's completely unplayable. I mean, junglers in general have always been broken, but it's a good enough anyway to Ambessa. And also the ultimate getting increased by 10 seconds every single rank. And I really, really like this change that basically if you miss your ultimate now, the cooldown's only going to be refunded by 35% instead of 50%. So now you can't just randomly use your ultimate and try and hit your ultimate from range or try and hit it blindly. You have to actually make sure now, and this is where the skill comes in with Ambessa, that you hit the ultimate right and you hit the right target, because sometimes you can go in with your ultimate with Ambessa and take a bunch of damage, which also now if you miss your ultimate's going to be on a much longer cooldown, with the cooldown going up. And also if you miss the target, the cooldown being returned is only 35% instead of 50%. Overall, great changes for Ambessa. Again, she's been the most OP jungler for such a long amount of time, and this is definitely warranted this nerf. Victor as well, again, another very, very strong champion that has been powerful for quite some time. Mages in general this patch got a really, really huge buff with the health per level, the base health, base armor, and base mag resist. And Victor in general, his scaling is just unlike any other champion in the game right now. Incredible scaling, incredible damage, great survivability as well with the movement speed on his first ability and also his shielding. So they're nerfing some of this damage down. So the blast damage on the first ability, the base damage is going down, also the ability power ratio, and the empowered basic attack afterwards is also getting nerfed in terms of the base damage, as you can see, and also the ability power going down by 5%. Most of the time, you're kind of just looking at this with kind of the first 2 or 3 levels. I mean, this is the second ability that you max, so you're really going to hit this like 10 damage nerf and the 5% ability power nerf when you reach like level 10, level 11. But during the early game, you normally take the Siphon Power, your first ability at level 1, and you abuse this with Shield Bash and also Empowered Attack, and use this as sort of a lane bully tool. 10 damage in the early game is quite a lot, it being nerfed by. I mean, this 5% ability power is not going to be too much in the early game. The big thing you want to see here is the base damage. So you're not going to be able to bully as much. You're still going to be able to deal damage. You're still going to be able to get that extra empowered auto attack afterwards. As you can see here, the empowered auto attack hasn't really been nerfed too much. This has been nerfed really in the late game with the ability power ratio and also the extra numbers in the late game. But a big thing here is trying to nerf the early game of Victor as well as the scaling as well, because Victor isn't really supposed to be a lane bully. It's supposed to be this scaling mage that wants to try and get as many stacks towards his passive as possible. But because of runes like Shield Bash and Empowered Attack being very powerful, they're also trying to nerf this as well. The third ability, the Hextech Ray, the ability power is going down. The damage is going down a lot, especially in the early game. Again, trying to nerf that early game damage with Victor is very, very important because, again, he's not supposed to be that powerful in the laning phase anyway. Again, late game not really doing too much, just nerfing the ability power by 5%. And then the bonus damage that you get, so the extra second burst of damage that you get afterwards once you upgrade this ability, is getting nerfed by 5%. And the ultimate, the instant damage dealt is going down by 50 at every single rank, and also the ability power is staying the same. Oh, I forgot about this. This change was actually implemented in patch 5.3D, but was mistakenly left out of the patch notes. This is already in the game, basically. I read this and I still read through the patch notes like it's a change this patch. So this update was already been in the game for quite some time. These are new nerfs. So basically, first ability and third ability being nerfed for Victor. The ultimate doesn't really mean anything because, yeah, it already got changed. They're basically just adding it into notes so people are aware what the change is. Onto items. One item change. I knew this item was going to get nerfed. This item is just way too overpowered. And to be honest, I think it might get even stronger with this. I understand what they're doing by trying to nerf the slow resistance. I mean, yes, it is very, very powerful. I mean, 40% slow resistance plus 1% of your bonus maximum health, or sorry, plus 1% of your bonus health was absolutely absurd. They're basically cutting that in half with the 20% and also plus 0.5% of your bonus health. But this is totally fine. They're buffing the armor by another 10. And with this item now being so good against critical strike damage, and in general there being so many champions which are strong with critical strike damage, I mean, this is why champions like Yasuo and Yone are much weaker now, because tanks can just go Randuin's Omen second item, and then most of your damage is pretty much negated because you're taking less critical strike damage. I mean, this is a pretty big enough. Of course, I mean, you're not going to be able to get as much slow resist, but I think that's totally fine. I don't think there's a problem with that at all. You getting 10 more armor for this item is just absolutely crazy. I mean, like I said before, this item, I already mentioned it many times, this item was going to be powerful. Again, it got nerfed already, but it still got buffed by the extra armor that you're getting, which is quite nice. Baron. I spoke about this a few times on the stream. Baron is completely broken. They've basically gone back to the old Baron that was before T-Hex, where basically every single lane now gets the Baron buff. The minions are so tanky. You also have the new health regen minion as well, which can basically keep your whole minion wave alive, even underneath enemy towers. But also Baron Nashor itself is also very squishy. It's so easy to take Baron once it spawns, especially if you're playing champions like Ambessa and Amumu, especially Amumu, because you basically can solo Baron by itself. And then you get this huge massive buff that can end the game before 15 minutes. It's crazy. Like, I feel like games are happening quicker, even though they were supposed to be slower because of the durability update, just because of this Baron Nashor. And obviously Riot see that as well, and they're doing some changes to try and nerf some of the minion power from Baron Nashor. So the damage reduction from towers from empowered minions has gone from 20% to 10% to 20%. Basically, this means once if you get Baron now, when it spawns, it's only going to be 10% damage reduction. But if you take it in the later stage of the game, like say like second or maybe third Baron, you're going to get the same damage reduction as what you did in this patch. So it means that rushing Baron now is not going to be as powerful as what it was before. And again, the health regen on Enchanted Trumpet, which is the new minion, is now being nerfed by 150% of its attack damage to 100% of its attack damage. So less healing from the new healing minion, less damage reduction from the minions from turrets. So it means that they're going to die much quicker from turrets. This is a nice change. In my opinion, I think they should buff the Baron itself, especially the HP and the defensive stats, because it's dying way too quickly. The reason why games are ending so quickly is because you can just solo Baron as soon as it spawns, and it's absolutely disgusting. So yeah, that's a change there, but I still feel like this needs to be tweaked a little bit more. And then we have Elder Drake. Burning damage of the aspect of the dragon, which is the buff you get from Elder Drake. 450 true damage in 3 seconds to 345 true damage in 3 seconds. So they're basically nerfing the Elder Drake damage. I mean, it's really unnecessary change. I mean, Elder Drake is still going to be very overpowered once you take it, and it's still an end game tool that you can still do a lot of damage, and you could still win the game from taking Elder Drake. So this doesn't really mean too much. It's just a little bit of less burn damage. And then there's a bug fix. Fix the bug where fix the bug of missing endurance attributes of Diana. So apparently there was a bug that the durability update was not didn't get put on Diana for some reason. So maybe that's why Diana has like one of the lowest win rates right now in China. I mean, if I quickly open this, I can quickly show you lot and show you like how crazy low Diana's win rate right now is in China. I still think the champion's really good, but look at this. 43% win rate for Diana, the lowest win rate jungler at the moment, which is absolutely crazy. So I'm kind of surprised that they didn't hotfix buff her or hotfix this bug fix, but maybe this bug fix is one of the reasons why Diana, I mean, I didn't think she was a weak champion anyway. She definitely wasn't like the weakest jungler in my opinion, but maybe because the durability update didn't happen to Diana, that's why she's so low. And then if you scroll up, you can see Ambessa sitting at 58% win rate. This is a champion that I have no idea why they have not nerfed Amumu. Amumu is free wins this patch. If you want free wins, play Amumu, play tank, go to my build on Wild Rift Fire, Go for the build, you'll get free wins. The champion does so much base damage as a tank is absolutely absurd. And also, he's an unkillable tank at the same time. Like, this champion is crazy. I'm glad they nerfed Victor. I'm glad they nerfed Ambessa. But why they haven't nerfed the Mumu is absolutely beyond me. But we'll have to see. Maybe that comes in the next patch, which honestly might be next week. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. It was a short video, but hopefully you enjoyed this little rundown of the new patch. Let me know what you think of the patch notes in the comments. And as always, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.